Now that we've gotten some of the preliminaries out of the way, let's look at auditioning sounds. We have three levels of browsers. We have the multi-browser, which always appears in the top header here, and whenever you see this folder icon, that indicates a browser. And we access it by clicking the folder icon here or this name field here, and it'll open up the multi-browser. But for now, we want to work in the patch browser where we load in patches to the individual parts. Now that's available in several different places. We get it here on the main page of the interface for each part. We have the folder icon and the name. We can click in either place and it'll call up the patch browser. We can also get it in multi-mode in a few different places. When we're in the Mixer tab, we can get the folder icon there per part and change the actual patch that's loaded into each part there by means of the patch browser. We can access it in live mode when we're viewing this view category. With that on, we can view some of the Mixer elements. We can get the little folder icon there to call up the patch browser again per part. And even in stack mode, which we haven't looked at, but you can control click or right click and get a pop-up browser to alter the patch that's loaded into each part here as well. But for now, let's work on the per part basis, and we're going to open up the patch browser. And by the way, the third browser is the sound source browser, and that's available here on the edit page. And again, that's unique for each part. We go into the edit page, and there's the sound source browser, and there's one for each layer. And you'll see again the familiar folder icon with the name in the middle where you can click on to call it up. So let's call up the patch browser and look at how to work within the browser here. Now we have a header, and this contains the browser title. This says patch browser, and it'll say multi-browser or sound source browser when you're in the other ones. And it also has the memory meter over here. And this ties into our system memory management because this shows the amount of virtual memory that's being used. And that, as we remember from the last video, is set here. When we have it set to a specific limit over there, that'll be reflected in the memory meter here in terms of how much is used up. We have the directory menu over here, and this allows us to filter which parts of the Trillion library we're going to be viewing. So we click on the triangle there and we can view the Trillion library, the old Trilogy Legacy library, or the Base Legends library. I'm going to leave it at all for now. And we have a search field over here. We can search by name. If you know the name of the patch, you can type it in there and that'll clear the search field. And the lock icon allows the search field to be locked so that when you close the browser and reopen it, the same search criteria will be maintained. So let's leave it unlocked for now. We have two different browsing modes, attributes and file directory. In file directory mode, it displays the folder and file hierarchy as they're stored on the hard drive in the application support folder that I showed you a couple of videos ago. So it basically mirrors the setup on the hard drive. But attributes is more interesting. When we're in this mode, the browser filters over here display selectable category attributes. And we can change the attributes. They're changeable by clicking, holding there, and changing to the different attributes that we want to search and sort by. This becomes like a big database. And these attributes are based on the tags that have been added to the multis or patches or sound sources, the metadata. And we're going to look at that when we save patches, how to edit the tags and metadata. But it becomes a big database. We have a preview load button, which I'm going to show you momentarily. And we have a light version button. And this allows for sample thinning, which we're going to get to. But basically, this affects how quickly we can load samples when we're auditioning sounds. And we have this little magnifier icon, and you'll see this throughout the interface. When you see that, it opens up a zoom. So we have the light version zoom window over here, where we get some additional options to set, and we can close it with the magnifier with the minus sign in it. Now we have the results of the search of this big database over here displayed in the bottom. There's different view modes. This is the info view, and you just click on a sound to load it, as you've probably figured out, and we'll see the load status over there. And what it does is it displays information on the right here based on which patch is selected. And we have two modes here, notes and tags. We can actually view what those metadata tags are here that determine how they appear in the search engines. And we have a zoom here where we get more information about the specific patch, and we can scroll down and get all the different metadata there as well. And let's go out of that. Now the other view modes are 4-column view here, where we get more results shown at once for whatever our filter criteria is allowing to be displayed. And we have a 5-column view over here, which allows for more attributes to be listed at once without having to scroll. Let's go back to the 4-column view. Normally you'd have to scroll to see them all, like over here. Now the other things we have on the bottom here is we have sort button where we can sort by various criteria. Click, hold, and you'll get a pop-up menu. Mine's appearing at the top because of my screen resolution, but yours will appear at the bottom. We can sort alphabetically, reverse alphabetically by ratings, which is a star system we can assign to patches. by recent user when we have user directories with our own patches set up, and featured, which are the newest sounds added by Spectrasonics. We have a shuffle button here, which is interesting. When we're displaying less data like that, we can, instead of viewing alphabetically, just shuffle and randomize what's displayed so we can get to some patches we might not otherwise get to. And we can use the stepper buttons to move up or down the patches. We have a refresh button to update the display if you've made changes within your OS outside of Trillion. We have an audition button that'll play as long as you have the mouse held down, but there are other ways of auditioning we're going to get to. We have a project button, which is another way of organizing and sorting your sounds. I want to look at that separately. And here's the rating system, by the way. You have these stars, and you can click on them to assign however many stars you want. Let's say I assign that one to be 4 stars, and now I can sort by ratings. And that should be my only sound, or it'll appear at the top, rather, because that's the one that I've given the highest rating. And you just click on it to remove the star, or you can command click to remove them all like that, or control click on Windows. We have a button here to get into the tag editor for editing the tags. We'll look at that separately. And we have a settings zoom. We'll look at these throughout the next couple of videos as it affects how we use the browser. Stay tuned. In the next video, we're going to audition some sounds.